So let's look at, for instance, now, you're not faulting the 14% that Lagos spent on education.
No, we're definitely going to spend more.
What you're faulting is the 3% that is spent on primary education. Am I getting it right?
No, we're going to spend more, definitely.
On education?
On education, definitely.
What are you looking at?
We're looking at taking it to about 18%.
About 18%.
Yes,
So
yes.
how much are you, of that fraction are you looking
and
at
then
spending?
you're putting more emphasis on primary education.
Which will be about how much?
It'll be a lot higher than 3%.
Okay. You don't want to commit on specific figures.
No, you see, we're clear. I mean, I think what matters is that you're looking at the fundamentals. And you're, just like you asked, why is it that we're not doing well enough? And we're saying that, hey, come, you're not putting enough at the foundation level for these children. And you see, you must appreciate that the education has changed all over the world. Education is no longer the 1 + 1 = 2. Education today is about innovation, it's about creativity. And you find that a lot of those who have changed the world, the Facebook people, the Zuckerbergs, the Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates, didn't get to where they are from university education. They got there from their basic education. And that's why they were university dropouts. So it wasn't the university that, it wasn't knowledge from the university that made them what they are, or made them change the world they have in the way they have. It's the kind of education that they received at that basic level. And that's what we should be looking at.
The reason I ask this question is because you say that what you've noticed is that the state is spending quite a bit of money on secondary and tertiary education, but they're not getting the results that they ought to be getting because the foundation is weak.
Yeah.
So I'm asking that question to know if you'll be spending, or if because you'll be taking care of primary education, secondary and tertiary will have to, you guys have had it for a while, just hold on a moment.
Yeah, I can go deeper into the analysis. For example, I can tell you that 82% of the education budget is on recurrent expenditure, which means salaries, overheads. So if you want to make progress, if you want to have schools that have labs, if you want to have schools that have good instruction material, you're going to have to change that also. So I'm saying it's not, you have to look at it in a more holistic manner.
What would you do specifically to change it?
You've got to change that round. You've got to increase the capital budget more than you're doing at the moment.
Does that mean you reduce salaries?
No. In fact, you're going to have to increase salaries. And that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to first and foremost increase the amount of money that you're putting into education, because you're taking it as priority number one.
How do you have to get all of those monies?
How?
How do you have to get the monies if you have to increase, you shore up what you're putting into education?
Some areas are definitely going, you're going to reduce the budget. Again, you do have quite some leakage, in government, that you're going to need to tighten your belt, so to say. So these are areas you're going to need to expand the economy, try and expand, go into new areas, new frontiers, to be able to raise money.
We've got this question from Oreloa, who says, Lagos State has 11 public libraries with a total budget of 8 million naira annually. How would you tackle this or change this if elected?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 11 libraries with 8 million naira is not much. But I think there's a new reality that we have to accept, and that is that the younger ones today are not very comfortable, or are not very familiar with even the use of libraries. And that's why we say that you've got to look at them. It's the same way you have these children's programs, these educational programs that our children watch, and it's like, how do you get them to learn? Today, everybody's used to the internet, and maybe the way we get our children to begin to use the library is to accept that they're going to get knowledge using the internet. And that's why we're saying that it's time we begin to have free Wi-Fi hotspots, at least for the older ones that can come. Because that is the source of knowledge today. That is the library that the children are more used to.
Okay.
That's not to say that you're pushing away the libraries, but you're saying that, the whole essence of the libraries for the young ones is for them to be able to go to access knowledge, to access material. They're more familiar with accessing material through their computers, through their phones. And so you must provide that kind of a facility for them.
Okay, well, education is important for you, so I might as well just bring in more questions in that regard. If you're going to increase the funding
Yes.
at the primary level, what will the local governments be doing? Because that's their function.
Again, for Lagos, the reality is that the local governments have not been used as a governance structure. It's been more of a political machinery. They do very little. The state has taken a lot of their resources on the pretense that they don't have the capacity to do the work, and so they're doing the work for them. So, the kind of things we want to do, the local government must be a governance structure.
Is it really a pretense? I mean, because this same complaint is not just from Lagos State. We've also interviewed governors in the PDP as well. Mm-hmm. They also say that when they look at what the teacher salary alone at the primary level, they know that the local government cannot cope. And so they literally take it over. In Rivers State, that would also happen. In Delta State, that's also the case. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Lagos is any different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that we have a governance structure in the state, and I'm speaking for Lagos. I'm not saying it doesn't apply to other states. I'm saying that is not how it should be, that our local government structure is simply a political machinery rather than a governance structure.
That wasn't what I heard earlier. What I thought I'd heard was that, you know, they do have the capacity, but they're not being allowed to utilize the capacity.
No, I didn't say they had the capacity, because a lot of those that are in the local government today or running the local government today are there principally because they're very political. They can deliver. They can mobilize, as politicians say. They're like giving patronage, you know. So what happens is government says, you know what, we'll take your resources from federal allocation, but you know, you're a government, so you go and oppress the market women, go and oppress the citizens in your community and raise money for yourselves.
Is that what happens at the local level in the PDP governed states as well?
I don't know. I can talk about Lagos because I'm in Lagos.
What would you do?
And I'm sure you'll understand what I'm saying.
What would you do about unemployment?
Unemployment, again, we're talking about education. Education, you've got to get right. If you're not properly educated, then you're not likely to get good jobs. We're talking about vocational skills, technical and vocational skills. Again, this is another area where the state government spends, I think, about 1.5% of its education budget on technical and vocational skills. Now, there's a study done by the Bureau of Statistics where they're talking about unemployment and relating it to what you do, and you find that you have school leavers that are unemployed. You have different categories of people that are unemployed, but you know, those with vocational skills, the National Bureau of Statistics says unemployment is nil. And that gives you the importance of vocational skills, that the reality is that if you do have the skills, then you're not likely to be unemployed based on those statistics. And that means that if we do place emphasis or more emphasis on vocational and technical skills, you'll find that we're going to address unemployment better. Of course, the kind of skills, the kind of training, the kind of certification will come in handy. So you're looking at that. You're looking again, like I said, at the economy. We've got to create new economy. We're talking of, for example, an ocean economy. That's a whole new idea where you're saying these are ways that you're going to expand the job market.
Okay, we'll dwell on that a little further when we return in just a moment. Please join us again.